it's a big part of my life, and it's a big part of like my family and my friends, and it's something that I cherish deeply, and I'm really happy to have grown up with, being a Zoroastrian and being in this community.
When I tell somebody I'm a Zoroastrian, they don't know what it is. They never heard about it, and when they have to look it up, like they usually, like the first thing that will pop up is Wikipedia, which has tons of information about it, and not everything is correct. So they just want to get to an answer.
For me, being a Zoroastrian, it's more of following the ideals than anything. So good thoughts, good words, good deeds, all of that, and really kind of having that down to a core. And I mean, I'd say that's about I wouldn't say bare minimum, but that's the least that you could do if you're gonna, want to be a part of this community and show people that.
In 3 words, how you should lead your life and be content with it. And you know the 3 words, everybody else knows the 3 words. And we don't require thick volumes of books, religious books, to tell us how to lead our lives. And those 3 words are good enough.
The good thoughts, the good words, the good deeds.
It's good thoughts, good words, good deeds.
Good thoughts, good words, and good deeds.
Right now, we're thought of this ancient religion that no one really knows about, and they read. Sometimes you'll have someone that'll be like, "Oh, I read about this. I studied this in school."
So I have some friends that will be like, "Can you explain it to me?" Or like, what is it actually for? And say I'll explain to them. And once they start, kind of spacing out, you can tell that they're losing a little bit of interest. You'll kind of cut it off there. But for the most part, yes, most of my friends they won't ask, in-depth questions, but they'll be like, what's it called? Like, do you guys have a higher power? Or, how does it work?
Being Zoroastrian means that's what I was taught by my mother, living a good life, being kind and helpful and friendly, always to say good, be honest, and follow the path of Asha, which means a lot of things: good, right, pure.
I feel like it is all about here and who you are.
The philosophy is to live a simple life and take care of the environment, do good, and not do harm.
I think if you ask any child of an immigrant, like what America means to them, they almost have to say something positive. And I think it's something I reflect upon almost daily. And when I talk to my Zoroastrian friends about this, it's our parents or our grandparents literally had to come to a brand new country with literally nothing to work off of. And build a life for their home and their family. And so when I consider that, I really consider that movement to be survival. It was something that they had to do. And now the entire purpose of that journey was so that their kids and future generations could have a better life, right? So I think my grandfather came in with the idea that his kids would have a better life than maybe he did in Pakistan. And now me, his granddaughter, would have an even more better life than my parents. And so how can we keep that cycle of growth within our community, but also it's a balance between like assimilating to American culture, but what is American culture if not an entire group of immigrants coming together and living like harmoniously?
We've always been really involved in the community because we thought it was important for our children to have be able to identify with a specific community. So that's kind of where Zoroastrianism came into our home.
You find kind of a new family. And okay, you cannot choose your family members, but you can choose your friends. So it's a little combination of those two together. And I mean, even in Hong Kong was the same thing, that we have still long-term friends or lifelong friends. After having left there for 20 years, we still can go back and feel back in the community by tomorrow.
And they're people that I trust, like completely, like they're like family to me now. Even though I don't see them all the time or something like that, I'll still, there'll be a wedding or a random gambar or like, Nowruz, I think I went to like a few years ago. and it's, you know, everyone's like cool and accepting and everything, and it just feels like a big family that comes together. Yeah, and I love it. A little gossipy family sometimes, like everyone's in everyone's business. Yeah, what's going on with your brother? And you're like, well, I don't know.
I also really like the Persian New Year functions, like Nowruz functions. Those were really fun growing up. Like in my days, I was like, oh yeah, like I'm dressing nice. I felt like I was kind of like going to the club in a way, like, okay, I get to be cute, get to go have fun. But and those are still fun. Like I still look forward to them. It was actually like, I was actually pretty sad that we had to cancel ours this year because of COVID and whatnot. But those are always fun because even people you don't see all the time in the community, they come back. And I guess it's like a nice little reunion. Like you see people that you haven't seen in like a year or two, they come back, they show up, they show out, and we all have fun, we catch up.
And my memory is, at least growing up, but like the Parsi and Iranian sort of groups was like there were two separate groups. They didn't mingle. Like we were saying the same prayers, but like no, like, you know, it just like was like very different. And it was never like we don't like them, but it was just like, there was this weirdness to it. It was almost like boys and girls in like a middle school dance, like standing on opposite ends of the gym, you know, where they're like, you know, you want to go talk to each other, but you just don't. And I don't know why, right?
The language doesn't bring us together. The religion brings us together. So we should unite it because of our religion, not because we speak Farsi or English. And still, you know, this is the one thing that I'm not happy with it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want to be the point in history where Zoroastrianism dies with me.
In the next 100 years, there shouldn't be a Persian or an Indian or Pakistani. There should be Zoroastrianism, period. And they should accept each other's cultures, but still be one.
In the end, yeah, we all are Zoroastrian, but we have our own beliefs within that, as all religions do. So I still think that there would be the Parsis, Iranians, American, you know. So it's kind of tough to say what it would look like. I would hope that it'd be a larger community with more mixes, you know, not just limited to Americans. You know, we have out of country and other places. That'd be amazing.
Let people voice their opinions and disagree without being disagreeable, and come some consensus as to what is best for the community and what is all inclusive. You don't want part of the community to be left behind. If someone is ultra orthodox, they should also feel welcome. If someone is liberal, they should also feel welcome.
Trusting that what has kept us in root will continue to keep us in root, even if we don't agree. So I want to see more healthy conflicts and speaking the truth.
Bay Area community, Bay Area is so diverse. I would love to see diversity in our community. And I would love to, like, I don't want to say like I want to make Zoroastrian so big that it becomes mainstream, but I would love to see like people come in like from different cultures, being a part of the community and being curious.
Accepting the people who are interested in we don't have to go out and convert people, but people who are interested in the community and interested in joining, we should be accepting of them.
We have people, they want to come to our religion, we don't let them. You know, this is so sad.
If there are prayers in the room, I can attend, but I most of the time I choose not to attend. Perhaps even sometimes not to offend these people who don't feel comfortable with having an outsider in the prayer hall.
We're not all the same. Very much we are different. And that's what makes us stronger as a community, and that we all have our own different things that we contribute to the community that makes it stronger. So not everyone is the same, and that's a good thing.
I wonder like how many people like just kind of learned about it in their books or something. Not Irani, not Parsi, just like learned about it in college or something, and they looked up and they found a map bed and they came by, and then like nobody's there and they can't get any more information, and like that's it. Like that's where the curiosity kind of ended.
One of the bigger things I think we should at least consider, try bring other people in, not so much convert, but just kind of expose some people, because, you know, it is such like a hidden away place. We're on top of a hill, at least here we are. And, you know, it's such a windy road to get up and everything. So, you know, if we could, you know, maybe bring some people along that are interested and kind of gain exposure.
I think with you know, Corona happening and then also everything happening with Black Lives Matter movement, like it's really a time for us to open up and really just learn about new things and be open to learning new things. And I hope that Zoroastrianism, that philosophy, can be open to being learned as well.
Like, I don't believe in Judaism or Christianity, but I know about them because we learned about them in school, and I can know what is respectful or disrespectful or about their history, and it's just interesting in general. So I think without doing anything like penning out pamphlets or anything like that, first I would just want people to be educated, because even if you don't want to join our religion, there's so many things that you can learn about it.
I hope they could show what is to be Zoroastrian. What is the Zoroastrian religion? I hope the world to find out Zoroastrian religion didn't die, is alive.
We have man-made laws which are now too old, out of place, and we have to think about what are the right things to do. Let your good mind think about these things.
Those rules and traditions, while many of them have very good morals and meanings, and we should keep them and remind them, there's definitely something to be said for some new ideas. Not that the old ones are bad or that we shouldn't keep them, but that we can also add new ideas and rules to those.
So we follow very old dogmas and traditions and ceremonies. We should modernize that. We can modernize that. Especially, I would say, you know, teach the philosophy of Zarathustra, relate to it what is going on today, because today there's a lot of environment. People are very concerned about the environment. And then if you look at Zarathustra's philosophy, he was very concerned about the environment, not polluting the elements. So we can bring that core part of the Zoroastrian philosophy out.
When you're living here in America, it's I think it's harder. Like, you have to put in effort if you want to remain in the community. And then as we grow and as we change and develop, you may want to ask yourself, like, is being a part of the community really part of my identity, or is it something that I just did because my parents took me? What obligation do I feel for these thousands and thousands of generations that are now on me and people my age? Like, what responsibility do I owe to the Zoroastrian faith?
Other factors, such as like going with Nabor or not eating meat on Nabor days, will have a less priority for me. But like having the right mindset, making the right choices, that's more valuable. So I kind of had to make those sacrifices and changes. So I wouldn't say I am the way I was 10 years ago, as strict as I was after moving to the US, but I like the change. I prefer the way I am right now.
I would like the community to realize that in this changing world, with Zoroastrians migrating to all corners of the world, there is a pressing need to make changes to some of our religious customs and rituals. We should never compromise on the basic tenets of our religion, but we should have a balance between orthodoxy and liberalism and accept revisions to some of our ritual practices and communal beliefs.
can we make our own culture, right? That like is common across ourselves. Like, because I even think about us, for instance, right? Like, think about us compared to our parents, right? Like, there's elements of their culture that we took, but there's also elements of the American culture that we took. There's elements of our friends' cultures that we took, right? Like, why can't we do that within the community? Like, why do we have to be so hard set in our ways? Like, if it's about, and also like, again, if it's about growing the community, like, we gotta be welcoming of each other and like come up with this collective culture that like we determine what it is by the moment, because like, it's also terrifying to me when culture doesn't change.
So what I like to see is that we take advantage of the fact that now we are in a time and a land that there is a lot of freedom to practice our faith, and we have open hearts and open arms to link with other faiths. Personally, I don't want to have too many people converting, but that I feel like we are the wisdom teachings are ways to fuel humanity and link to other wisdom teachings.
That's why I think, like, in a weird sense, like, good thoughts, good words, good deeds, like feel more important than ever in a way, because I think like that's what brings people together, right? And I don't even think it's about being Zoroastrian anymore. It's just like common goodness in people, like, and it's sad in a way that like religion has to be the thing that like brings that out in people, but like I don't think it has to be, so I guess if there's like one thing I think I would love to see in a perfect world is like that part of the community, just that message spread across the world, right?
You want to become a Zartushti? Try. And you know what you have to do. Okay, you're a Zartushti. You shouldn't show me your diploma or something, sign it, oh, he's Zartushti. No. You want to become.
I want to say I love all of us Zartushtis, whether you're married into it or you're born into it. And I hope that us Zartushtis, individually, we can heal from all the past traumas and move forward to be stronger and more connected.
Of course, one change I would like to see is both sides of our community coming together. The Irani side and the Parsi side. I don't know if that's the right lingo to use, but I really think that we need to be a united community. I think together we're stronger. And I think our youth really would like to see that happen. It doesn't mean that the rituals from each side or the food from each side or the language from each side can't come together. I think it's like in Canada where you have a very multicultural community, but everyone's accepted and everyone can still keep their own traditions.
Had it not been for the community, I don't know if I would have become the person I am today. And like, I'm pretty happy with who I am today. Like, I'm not perfect, no one is, but like, I don't know, I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's like, I'm happy with where I am. I'm surrounded by good people in my life and like people that are good influence. I've tried to cut out the bad. And like, I hope it can be that force in everyone's life.
Every time you look at the Gautama's, even if you read the same verse, 25 times, the 26th time will have a different meaning because it does renew itself. It does. And that's true with all spiritual material, but especially with Gautama's.
Because what I see that nowadays, you have to mix along with other religion and other people of the other religions. And then you compromise, but you stick to the basic teachings and that you maintain that, and you maintain that philosophy. But otherwise, rituals and customs you can change because that is all man-made and it has gone from for so many years. Like over here, some will say, oh, no, when you do the ceremony, you don't let non-Zoroastrians participate in the ceremony. It's not like that, Anybody can participate in the Zoroastrian rituals,
Truly, the promise of Gautama's is joyful living. We do have the key to the doorway of joy. regardless of life circumstances. We really do. So just let's go find it. You know, it's kind of like you just have to keep looking for it. To keep, you know, and Mazda is very playful in Gatha. You know, it's loving and kind and playful. Just have to keep on finding it. It's like a big scavenger hunt. But we need each other. We can't do it separately.